This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
Al-Qaeda's deputy leader, Al-Zawahiri, said that the Americans are not negotiating with what he described as the real powers in the Islamic world regarding the withdrawal of their troops from the region. In a videotape, Al-Zawahiri said that the Americans will discover that those they are now negotiating with are not capable of finding them a solution or an exit.
I tell both the Republicans and Democrats, you are attempting in panic to find an exit out of the disasters which are besieging you in Iraq and Afghanistan. You are still thinking in the same insane way. You are trying to negotiate with some parties to secure your exit, but these parties will not find you an exit, and your attempts will lead to more disappointments, God willing. You are not negotiating with the real powers in the Islamic world, and it appears that you will embark on a painful journey of failed negotiations. You will come back, God prevailing, with no other choice but to negotiate with the real powers.
Al-Zawahiri reminded the Americans that their security is linked to the security of Muslims around the world. He accused U.S. President Bush of misleading his people for saying that the war in Iraq is necessary for the security of the U.S.
By the grace of Allah, the formula for your safety is that you shall never dream of security until we truly experience it in Palestine and the land of Islam. On the contrary, your president is misleading you by saying that he needs to strike the terrorists in their country in order to prevent them from striking Americans at home. If we are struck in our countries, we shall never stop striking you in your countries with Allah's power and permission. As our commander, Sheikh Osama bin Laden, may Allah preserve him, told you, as you bomb, you will be bombed, and as you kill, you will be killed.
Al-Zawahiri also criticized the Hamas-led government without mentioning the Islamic movement by name, saying that Hamas's recognition of the legitimacy of President Abbas and the PLO means the recognition of Israel.
Accepting the legitimacy of Mahmoud Abbas, the head of the national authority, America's man in Palestine, and mandating the PLO, which recognizes Israel, to negotiate with Israel is an abyss, which will ultimately lead to eliminating the jihad and recognizing Israel. Ignoring the fundamental and legitimate facts in the struggle between infidels and Islam has led some of the brothers in Palestine to take a break from fighting to conduct elections to create a secular constitution. Then from the elections on the basis of a secular constitution to respecting international resolutions. And from respecting international resolutions to approving the prisoner's document. And from approving the prisoner's document to a government of national unity. And from a government of national unity to their expulsion from the cabinet. And the story goes on. How is it that they did not demand that Palestine have an Islamic constitution before entering into any elections? Aren't they an Islamic movement? Don't they strive for Allah's word to be the highest?
Joining us from Cairo is Abdulrahim Ali, Al-Arabiya's consultant on Islamic groups. First of all, how do you read Al-Zawahiri's comments and Hamas's quick response?
Of course, Al-Zawahiri's comments are not new. He previously gave a speech declaring that Hamas was no longer an Islamic movement when it entered the Palestinian elections. He declared that anyone who participates in the elections is an infidel because, in his view, elections are an Islamic Islamic and jihadi groups should not support them. He also said that the Palestinian issue can only be resolved through jihad, and he attacked the national allegiance of President Abbas and Hamas's new tactics. At the time, the Hamas representative in Lebanon, Osama Hamdan, reiterated what brother Mahmoud Nizal said, that Hamas believes in using different tactics besides the military struggle. He said that Hamas does not believe that it should only use the military option, and therefore it has the right to develop its own strategy, which is different than that of Al-Qaeda organization. Since Hamas entered the political process, it has consistently and directly been attacked by Al-Zawahiri, Osama bin Laden, and Al-Qaeda organization. They tried to create Islamic movements in the Palestinian society that are totally loyal to them and oppose Hamas, but they failed. So now they are attacking Hamas.
لأنهم يريدون خلق حركات مناوئة في المجتمع الفلسطيني تدين بالولاء في البدء والخاتمة لتنظيم القاعدة. هم حاولوا هذا من قبل وفشلوا.
Considering what you've just said and what has been happening in the Palestinian areas, do you think that Al-Zawahiri's speech will have any effects, or will it be just like his other speeches that have not had any tangible effects on Hamas's political plans?
بالطبع أيمن الظواهري يعي تماما المأزق الذي تعيشه حماس في الأرض المحتلة يعي تماما.
Certainly, Ayman al-Zawahiri is fully aware of the crisis that Hamas is going through in the occupied territories. He totally understands that Hamas is facing many challenges, including the call for early elections, the unwillingness of the international community to recognize the movement and the refusal to cooperate with it, as well as the attempts to make matters difficult for Hamas. The organization has had difficulty in improving the daily lives of the Palestinians and providing them with the basic necessities. Al-Zawahiri wants to take advantage of these crises that Hamas is experiencing. Thus, the movement is faced with two alternatives. One is to focus on using political means, which is more likely to happen, as was evident in the 10-year ceasefire agreement that Hamas has offered Israel. The other alternative is to be taken over by a newer generation that supports what Ayman al-Zawahiri is calling for. If this should happen, then this movement will represent Al-Qaeda in Palestine.
ويخرج على أطر الحركة وبالتالي يكون هناك من يعتقد في أفكار تنظيم القاعدة ويرفع لواءها في فلسطين.
The sound of ricocheting bullets, which is hard to silence in the beleaguered Palestinian territories, was met in Ramallah by a group holding a silent sit-in. Perhaps their silence will succeed in delivering a message that failed to reach its destination from the podiums of mosques and the barrels of guns. This silent sit-in was organized by a political movement in Ramallah. Their story is brought to us by our correspondent, Amani Abu Hantash.
Silence. This is the title of the sit-in. These silent protesters hope that their silence will send a message to their suicidal brothers. Enough. Perhaps their silence will succeed in achieving what words have failed to achieve.
Our message is from the silent majority, which represents the entire Palestinian people. The message is, enough of this crisis, enough of the bloodshed, enough undermining the future of the Palestinian people. Everyone must unite immediately to form a national unity government.
What is happening is wrong. We must unite with one another and form a national unity against the Israeli aggression.
This popular movement comes amidst intense political movements by international, Arab, and Islamic parties, including the Secretary General of the Organization of the Islamic Conference, Akmal ad-Din Ihsan Aglo. His efforts, along with those of the Egyptian security delegation, succeeded in producing a ceasefire between Hamas and Fatah.
We want everyone to take an honest stance and give the highest priority to the interests of the Palestinian people, and immediately form a national unity government.
Along with these popular and official voices, there is still hope that the cooling-off period remains firmly in place and creates an opportunity for discussions that will lead to a resolution on frozen political issues. Amani Abu Hantash, Dubai TV, Occupied Ramallah.
Resentment among the Palestinians was accompanied by many accusations being made against international and local parties. Palestinian Prime Minister Ismail Haniyeh accused the United States, saying that it is leading a coup to bring down the Palestinian government. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas accused Prime Minister Haniyeh of being responsible for the failure of negotiations to form a national unity government.
Our brother Abu Mazen had a valuable opportunity to form a national unity government. But he insisted, may God forgive him and us, he insisted on a certain individual for the Minister of Finance position. Our brothers, the national unity government negotiations only because of one ministry. We compromised on everything concerning the authority of the Prime Minister's office, symbols, numbers, and other things. We exhibited political flexibility. We also compromised on 2 out of 4 ministries, referred to as the executive ministries. Therefore, we are not responsible for the failure of these negotiations.
نبدأ جولتنا عبر مدار هذه الليلة من دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة حيث الممارسة الفعلية للديمقراطية ضمن جولة
The second phase of elections in the United Arab Emirates were held today, marking yet another historic day in 2 emirates, where members of the Electoral College in Dubai and Ras Al Khaimah cast their votes to elect members for the Federal National Council. During a visit to a voting center in the Dubai World Trade Center, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the UAE Vice President, Prime Minister, and the Governor of Dubai, said that the elections were a step in the right direction, urging candidates and registered voters to exercise their voting rights in a democratic and transparent way. Elections officials described the voting process as an unprecedented experience that the country needs to build on in the future.
يأملون أن تمهد السبيل للسماح لجميع المواطنين بالتصويت في غضون السنوات المقبلة.
إمارة دبي تنتخب 4 من ممثليها.
Members of the Electoral College in the Emirate of Dubai cast their votes to elect 4 of 8 representatives for the Federal National Council. This historical event will help take the democratic process to the next stage, and it comes in the context of political reforms that were launched by His Highness UAE President Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan. 1,677 Electoral College members from the Emirate of Abu Dhabi have already voted to elect 4 representatives for the 40-member FNC, an advisory council where half of its members are directly appointed by governors of the 7 emirates. 77 candidates, including 15 women, have competed for the FNC, which is the first elected government body in the history of the country.
في أول مجلس اتحادي منتخب في تاريخ دولة الإمارات.
This is a democratic experience, which comes in the context of political reforms that were launched by the country's highest authority. We, the people of the United Arab Emirates, hereby renew our loyalty and commitment to this historical gesture. God willing, this democratic process will help move the country forward and in the right direction.
After the final tally was announced, those who did not win in the election spoke highly of the process, saying that the real winner were the people of the United Arab Emirates. The UAE has given its citizens an opportunity to participate in the decision-making process, which will help shape up the country and move it forward on the path to democracy and political freedom.
Regardless of who won or lost in the elections, we all share the victory. It is a victory to the entire nation. Those candidates who won in the elections will represent us to the best of their abilities in the Federal National Council. In fact, their agenda during the elections was similar to ours.
I am very disappointed today because the turnout of women voters in Dubai was very low. I'm not disappointed because I did not win, but rather because women in Dubai failed to vote for female candidates. Unfortunately, today was a sad day.
وتجدر الإشارة إلى أن اعتماد اللجنة المنظمة لهذه الانتخابات نظام التصويت الإلكتروني الذي طبق لأول مرة في العالم العربي ونفذ بسلاسة كبيرة سواء من
The Elections High Committee said that the voting process was conducted via an electronic voting system, the first of its kind in the Arab world, hence portraying a modern image of the United Arab Emirates. Moreover, the elections were described by both candidates and voters as democratic and transparent. Today, the voters in the Emirate of Dubai cast their ballots to elect 4 of their representatives at the FNC, a council that is expected to be an advisory council to the country's highest legislative authority, marking a new era of democracy and political freedom.
عبد القادر جريدي قناة أبو ظبي من المركز الانتخابي دبي.
In diplomatic news, no confirmation yet from Jerusalem of reports that Prime Minister Ehud Olmert will be meeting with PA Chairman Mahmoud Abbas in the next few days. The reports came from Palestinian sources. Officials in the Prime Minister's office say efforts are being made to coordinate such a meeting, but no date has been set. Yesterday, Olmert paid an unannounced lightning visit to Jordan, where he held talks with King Abdullah II. Prime Minister Olmert himself would not confirm reports of an imminent meeting with Mahmoud Abbas. At a joint press conference with visiting Norwegian Prime Minister Jens Stoltenberg, Olmert said, quote, "I hear that Abu Mazen will be happy to hold a meeting with me. If it's possible to make him and myself happy, I see no reason not to do so, and I hope it will happen very soon." Olmert also related to the latest peace overtures from Damascus. The Prime Minister said that Syria continues to foster terrorism in Iraq, is collaborating with the Iranian president, and making every effort to topple the Senora-led government in Lebanon. "We want peace with every state," Olmert stressed, "but we will not accept false pretenses." At today's press conference, both Olmert and Stoltenberg made reference to disagreements between the two countries on Israel's policy toward the Palestinians.
I encourage you to ease the restrictions of freedom of movement of Palestinians, as well as releasing Palestinians' funds, so it can be more easy to have a better or improvement of the humanitarian situation for the Palestinians.
I'm sure you all know that there was a ceasefire declared a month ago, and since then there were 40 Qassam rockets shot from Gaza against Israel, and this is already after Israel pulled out entirely from Gaza, and we have crossed the international line. And the shooting continues. And Israel did not respond even one time. The last Qassam rocket landed precisely 10 minutes ago while we were talking.
In a stark message, British Prime Minister Tony Blair urged world leaders today to take a stronger stand in supporting moderates against the forces of extremism in Iran and elsewhere, and to help advance the Israeli-Palestinian peace process. Speaking in Dubai on the final leg of his Mideast tour, Blair said Iran was openly supporting terrorism in Iraq, undermining the government of Lebanon, and blocking efforts to broker peace between Israel and the Palestinians.
Here are elements of the government of Iran openly supporting terrorism in Iraq to stop a fledgling democratic process, trying to turn out a democratically elected government in Lebanon, flaunting the international community's desire for peace in Palestine, at the same time as denying the Holocaust and trying to acquire nuclear weapons capability. And yet a huge part of world opinion is frankly almost indifferent. It would be bizarre if it weren't so deadly serious. We have, in my view, to wake up. These forces of extremism, based on a warped and wrong-headed misinterpretation of Islam, aren't fighting a conventional war, but they are fighting one against us being not just the West, still less simply America and its allies, but us, all those worldwide who believe in tolerance, respect for others, and liberty. We must therefore mobilize our alliance of moderation in this region and outside of it to defeat the extremists. Nothing matters more. Nothing should stand in the way of it. Nothing should be more galvanizing of our collective will.
Well, joining me now in the studio is Justice Weiner, an international human rights lawyer and scholar in residence at the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs. Justice is the principal author of the center's report on Iranian President Ahmadinejad's incitement to genocide. Thank you very much, Justice, for being with us in the studio. What do you intend doing with this report on Ahmadinejad?
We intend to distribute it as widely as possible amongst the interested professional audience as well as the wider public audience. This is the monograph. It's 68 pages. It can be obtained for a nominal cost from the Jerusalem Center or through Amazon, and soon people who want to can download it for free from our website.
And I understand that you've shown it already to some public figures, including Senator Hillary Clinton in New York.
We took it to New York just a week ago today. Last Thursday, we had a big symposium at the New York County Lawyers Bar Association. Hillary Clinton wasn't able to come, but she had us read a letter supporting our initiative. Ambassador John Bolton, U.S. Ambassador to the UN, spoke. Congressmen, persons on both sides of the political aisle in the United States.
And now that all these people have seen it, I understand you also intend to take it one step further, and your eventual aim, is it not, is to actually put Ahmadinejad on trial for incitement to genocide.
Precisely.
And where do you plan to do that, at The Hague?
Well, we have a number of options, and we're not going to tip our hand, but you have the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. You've got the Convention on All Forms of Racism. You have the Rome Statute. You have the UN Convention on the Prevention and Prosecution of Genocide.
And do you have any information on Ahmadinejad that, can you tell us something about him that we didn't know before you compiled the report?
Of course. I mean, that goes without saying. When you work for 6 months on something, you can quote, and we have in the first appendix of this report, we have pages of quotes, not just the famous one, wipe Israel off the map, but quotes from the entire leadership since the Iranian Revolution of 1979, supporting the destruction of the Jews or the State of Israel.
Knowing international politics as you do you think there's a realistic chance that we will see Ahmadinejad standing in the dock, either at The Hague or at some other international tribunal?
Nobody expected that Milosevic would stand in the dock. I think that's an example we can look to. Also, there's a greater and greater awareness of the fact that if you're going to stop genocide, it's not enough to come in after the fact and count the bodies. You have to prevent it.
Okay, Justice Weiner, thank you so much for being our guest this evening.
My pleasure.
Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad says giving a boost to amicable ties between Iran and Pakistan will help guarantee security and stability in the region at large. In a meeting with the visiting Pakistani Foreign Minister Khurshid Mahmood Qasori in the western city of Kermanshah on Wednesday, the Iranian president said certain corrupt and opportunist groups, through escalation of insecurity and smuggling of narcotics, are seeking to secure the unholy interests of the hegemonic powers, adding, such plights can be minimized through regular consultation among the regional states. Elsewhere in his remarks, President Ahmadinejad stated that coming to stream of Iran-Pakistan-India gas pipeline will consolidate friendly relations between the three nations and help reduce tension in the region. Day 2 of President Ahmadinejad's tour of Kermanshah province saw him meet the folks in several other provincial towns and cities on Wednesday. Addressing the residents of Javandrud, the president said today, the Muslim world is in a dire need of unity, solidarity, and rapport. He underlined hegemonic powers' military expansionism comes under the pretext of establishing security and democracy. The president underlined Iran will not forego its entitlement to peaceful nuclear know-how.
ينتظم الطلبة في جميع محافظات العراق بالدوام الرسمي بعد فشل.
Criminal attempts have failed to derail Iraq's educational institutions. The Minister of Defense and Interior deployed thousands of troops to protect students and educational institutions from terrorist gangs that are trying to target them.
الشمر الإرهابية التي تحاول استهداف تلك الشرائح.
The Prime Minister is paying careful attention to university students and professors. He ordered the government to protect all the universities by setting up army checkpoints and deploying police near these areas. The number of students returning is consistently increasing.
After the Prime Minister stated that the universities would be protected, the number of students attending school has increased from last week. Of course, not all the students are attending school, but attendance is better than the week before.
The terrorists should not keep us from going to school. We should insist on attending school because this is what it takes to make our country succeed.
The university students insist on starting the official academic year despite the daily obstacles they face, including poor security and lack of services.
We've been attending classes since the beginning of the week. Things are more normal than last week. Classes run regularly and there are many people attending them. The number of students will increase day after day. We're not interrupting our studies.
Today I came to class and I also came yesterday. I am attending classes. Everything is normal. We want our fellow students and colleagues to attend the classes and continue their studies. The classes are available to them.
The Iraqi government is defending students and university professors from the dangers they are facing by using various methods to provide needed protection. There are also other major indications that this government cares for all Iraqis, not just those at the universities. Iraq's national soccer team has advanced to the finals in the Asian Games Doha 2006 after a stunning victory over the prominent South Korean team. Iraq will compete Friday against host Qatar in Doha for its first gold medal in soccer in 2 decades. According to critics following up on the Doha competition, Iraq's victory was one of the biggest surprises in the Games. Our correspondent Taha Abdurrahim has the details.
After it has become a candidate to participate in the 2006 Doha soccer tournament, many believed that the Iraqi national team would be an easy team to defeat due to the security situation in Iraq. According to sport reviewers, Iraq's stunning victory over South Korea in the semi-finals was a great achievement, especially considering the security situation in the country. The Iraqi national soccer team won a gold medal in the 1982 New Delhi soccer games. Iraqi fans expressed joy after their team defeated South Korea 1-0 in the semi-finals. Despite the challenges and financial hardship facing the Iraqi team, especially when contrasted with its South Korean counterpart, the team has put on a great show. After its stunning victory over South Korea, the Iraqi national team has reached the soccer final, and it will play against Doha next Friday. The Iraqi team and the fans expressed joy and cheer over this victory, which did not come easy, especially considering the current situation in the country.
Thank God the team was in good spirits during the game. We adopted a good strategy that helped us organize the team. We won the game by 1 goal. Praise the Lord.
I would like to congratulate the Iraqi people for this great victory we achieved today. God willing, we will win the championship and get the gold medal. I would like to thank our loyal fans. Greeting to all of you out there.
Welcome. It was an Iraqi victory. All the Iraqi people share this victory. We won in the semi-finals, and we are on our way to the final round. And God willing, we will win the gold medal.
The Iraqi fans hope that their team will win in the final round by defeating the Qatari team next Friday. If Iraq wins the gold medal, the fans are expected to return to the streets of Baghdad to cheer and celebrate the championship.
The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. Please visit linktv.org/Mosaic for more information about these broadcasters or to view previous Mosaic programs, obtain program transcripts, or receive the weekly Mosaic Intelligence Report. Mosaic is made possible by a grant from the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation. Additional support is provided by the Firedoll Foundation, the Otto Haas Charitable Trust, and by committed Link TV viewers like you. If you value this program, please send your tax-deductible contribution to Link TV, either through the website or the mailing address listed on your screen. This program was brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. television network devoted to global and national news, with uncompromising documentaries and diverse cultural programs which connect you to the world.